This video demonstrates pass by reference and discusses when to use pass by reference versus when to use pass by value. In this video, we're going to write a program that converts from inches to feet and inches, and then we're going to convert back to inches.
There are 3 steps to this program on a high level.
The first step is to get inches from user. The next step is to convert inches to feet and inches. And the last one is to convert feet and inches to just inches. So each of these 3 major high-level steps can be thought of as functions, and in fact that's what we'll write them as. So the first function will be to get inches from the user. So what does that look like? Well, this function will be returning inches, so we'll make that data type an int, and we can name this get inches. We don't need to pass any values in, so we're not using pass by reference nor pass by value with this function. What do we need to do? We need to get the inches, which is an int. We'll ask the user enter number of inches, and we'll store the user input into inches and then return inches. So let's go ahead and compile. No errors. How about when we run the program? And nothing's happening so far, which is correct because right now the entire program is inside of main, and since the comments get thrown out, the program is just to return 0. So let's utilize this function we just wrote, and we need to have a variable inches to store the returned value of the function. I'm going to copy the function, add a semicolon, and this function returns an int which will store inside of our variable inches. Okay. Compile and execute, enter number of inches. Cool. Okay, now that we've got the number of inches, we need to convert to feet and inches. So what is that function going to look like? Well, we're going to need to pass in inches, which is an int. Okay, and we're going to call this function convert inches to feet inches. Alright, and what is the data type that we're going to be using? Well, we could say int. If int was the data type, then we would be returning the feet or the inches. So int as a data type doesn't quite work. Perhaps what we could do though is use pass by reference. So if we passed the reference to feet and inches as parameters, then we don't have to return any data. So we can make this a void. In order to make this a void, we need to pass a reference using the ampersand to feet and a reference to inches. Alright. And since we have a void, it's just return. And what we need to do is we'll write a fix me here, which is convert inches to feet and inches. Alright. But for now, we just will compile this program, see if we're doing okay so far. Doing fine so far. Now let's actually use the function convert inches to feet inches. Pasting that into the main, and it takes 3 parameters. One is inches, which is what the user has just input, but it takes 2 more. It takes the feet and inches, so we need to create those variables, feet and inches. So we'll pass those variables into the function, and what does the function return? It returns void. It doesn't return anything. So let's save and let's compile again. Okay, running well so far. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and work with this fix me and get the right conversion to be outputting. So let's take a look first at what is inches. Add an end line to make that easier to read. And then I'm going to move this comment into the middle between those two. And then I'm going to output what is feet and what is inches. So this tells me what does it start as what is my starting inches, and then we'll do the formula to convert, and then we'll output feet and inches. Let's take a look how this program is doing. So if I did 106 inches, then we get the output of 106, that's for inches, and then 0 and 0 for feet and inches. That's because feet and inches are still the initialized values. Alright, so what's the formula? Let's see. So feet is inches divided by 12. And inches is inches modulus 12. It's just the remainder. Let's take a look now, see how we're doing. 106, 8 feet, 10 inches. 106 inches is 8 feet, 10 inches. Cool. So those outputs have done their job. We'll go ahead and delete those. We can also delete the fix me and the other output. Let's go ahead and run the program. Make sure we didn't break anything. Okay, so now we've converted feet to inches. So why don't we output inside of main the feet and inches. Okay, let's compile, run, 106, 8 feet, 10 inches. Cool. Alright, that should be useful output. Now, we have one more function, which is to convert the feet and inches to just inches. So what is that function going to look like? Well, what are we going to return? In this case, we have one value that's being returned, which is inches. So we don't have to do pass by reference. We can actually just return inches, which is the data type int. And what's the name of this function going to be? Well, it's convert feet inches to inches. And we need to pass in two parameters at least, feet and inches. What else do we need? Well, we're going to be returning inches, so we don't need to pass any other parameters. So just two pass by value parameters is sufficient. Now what should we do? We're going to be using the parameters feet and inches to create just inches. So we need to have a variable inches that we're going to be returning. And I'm going to put a fix me here for now, which simply is convert feet and inches to inches. Okay, and let's compile and execute. 106, 16. So 1 foot 4 inches, that's what 16 inches is, correct? Alright, and I'm going to copy the function name, paste that into the main, and this function is expecting two parameters, feet, then inches. So I'll pass in feet, then inches. And does this function return anything? It does. It returns an int, and that int is the inches. So we'll assign the variable inches inside of main the returned value of convert feet inch to inches. Let's compile. 106. Okay, looking fine so far. So now let's work on this fix me. What is the equation? There's 12 inches per foot, and then inches just converts directly into inches. 1 inch for 1 inch. Okay, and to make sure we're doing this right, let's output inches, and perhaps we should also output feet and output inches, just to make sure we've got all our bases covered. That should be useful output. Okay, let's compile and execute. Enter number of inches, 106, which breaks down into 8 feet 10 inches, and then we outputted that a second time, 8 feet 10 inches inside of our function call. So that's good, we got the correct values as input, and then we produced 106 inches again. Okay, so we can remove that output, we can remove the fix me, we can remove this additional output, save, and let's compile once again. Make sure I didn't break anything. Okay, looks fine. And we'll do the final output, which is inches. Once again, we'll compile and execute. Say 257 inches converts to 21 foot 5 inches, which converts back into 257 inches. Awesome. Thank you.